When today is unpredictable, you need sound advice and strong support to help you stay focused on your long-term financial goals for tomorrow. Together with an advisor from Rise Private Wealth Management, formerly Pell Wealth Partners, a private wealth advisor practice of Ameriprise Financial Services, you can plan your future while navigating your now. Ameriprise Financial has been guiding clients through challenging times for 130 years. You can take comfort in working with a financial advisor who's backed by that strong experience and who's there to guide you with personalized, goal-based financial advice. Call Rise Private Wealth Management today at 914-253-8800. That's 914-253-8800. Office is located at 800 Westchester Avenue, Suite 300 in Rybrook, New York, and 300 East 40th Street, New York City. Not FDIC or NCUA insured. No financial institution guarantee. May lose value. Securities offered by Ameriprise Financial Services, LLC. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Welcome to Leadership Unleashed, the show that will explore the multifaceted world of leadership through insightful interviews, thought-provoking discussions, and practical advice from experts throughout Westchester County and beyond. I'm your host, Amanda DePalma, Senior Vice President of Events and Development at the Business Council of Westchester. On today's episode of Leadership Unleashed, we're continuing the conversation on artificial intelligence and what it means for leaders in every industry. From adopting AI thoughtfully to avoiding the common pitfalls that can derail projects, we'll explore practical insights every leader can use. We're thrilled to have two experts, BCW members and BCW ambassadors, joining us to guide the conversation. Kathy D'Agostino, founder of Win at Business.AI, and Nikhil Jagga, president of CMIT Solutions. In this episode, they'll share what excites and worries them about AI in organizations today, why clear policies are essential as employees start using AI, and an inside look at the BCW's brand new AI-intensive program supported by Google.org. Special thank you to our sponsor, Westchester Medical Center, for their support of the Leadership Unleashed podcast.
A lot goes into planning a birthday. For my daughter Cameron, it started with a stem cell transplant to cure her sickle cell disease. Yes, cure. Westchester Medical Center Health Network uses every technology, technique, and talented specialist to conquer diseases that could otherwise rob a child of childhood, helping my daughter and thousands of others at Maria Ferrari Children's Hospital. Happy birthday, Cameron.
Happy birthday. WMC Health, advancing care here.
Kathy and Nikhil, welcome to Leadership Unleashed. We're thrilled to have you here with us today.
Thank you, Amanda. We're thrilled to be here.
Yes, thank you, Amanda. We're thrilled to be here as well.
Our pleasure. So I'm going to direct the first question to you both. To start off, why should leaders pay attention to AI today?
Yeah, so, first of all, Amanda, again, I want to thank you and the BCW and Marcia again for really being the driving force of AI in Westchester and bringing it to the community. So thank you for that, and thank you for the question. So to answer your, why should leaders pay attention to AI and why now? We just finished a client project, and it was a research project which normally takes them 15 hours to do, and with AI, they were able to do that, in 3 hours with better output. So really, that's not theoretical, right? That's real time back for a small business that they can bring back either to their customers or grow the business. So AI has reached a point where it's starting to show real results if done right. It is at a point where it is more accessible and affordable. It is not the privilege of large enterprises anymore. If done right, small businesses with the right way to adopt can really make a difference. So the barriers to using AI have dramatically dropped in the last few years. And the third point I'll make is, if you're not doing it, your competition is. Every month, the gap between businesses that are trying to figure out AI and the businesses that are not is widening. And the businesses that are really going to gain that momentum, which is going to be, hard to catch up to. You mentioned the Google Intensive program, the BCW Intensive program on AI, and that's exactly what we're trying to do with the training program is to get our local businesses off the sidelines and starting to participate in actually using AI.
Thank you for that, Kathy.
Yeah, so I agree totally with Nikhil on the point to, Business Council has really been on the forefront, has been a trailblazer for bringing AI into, the Westchester market and the focus. And I think that's so valuable. And I appreciate all of that, as Nikhil mentioned, and totally agree with his points. Nikhil provided some real life examples, and I'll provide a little bit of a different perspective in terms that I think that we're really at an inflection point. AI isn't coming, it's here, and it's reshaping how we get work done. Leaders who pay attention to it now are the ones who, will define what's possible in their industries. Nikhil gave some great examples of that. The ones who wait are going to spend the next few years trying to catch up. And AI, since it's moving at the fast pace that it is, it'll be harder and harder to catch up. To your point, Amanda, about the Google Intensive program, we're totally excited that we can solve some of these problems through that program. It's exactly why we designed it, to help Business Council members in 2026 to really be on board with AI. A lot of people are talking about it, but we haven't seen a lot of action. I think there's a very small percentage of businesses that have really jumped in. And I think at this point in 2026, it's really as I mentioned, the inflection point. People need to start now. And I think leaders understand that. The question that the Google program that Nikhil and I will be facilitating is really providing a path for people. Like, here's where to begin, here's where to go, and then paying attention to how can I bring this back into my business, and how can everybody really participate. And I think that really sums up a little bit about the trend where AI is going and why, everybody needs to pay attention to it.
Now, Nikhil, you shared a story before of, a business adopting AI. How should leaders think about adopting AI within their organizations? What are some other ideas that you have behind that?
Yeah, so I think the short answer is, start with the pain, not the possibility, right? So what we always want to think about is, where is the problem in my business that AI can solve, versus the other way around, where people are thinking, oh, what tool can I use? So really the question every leader and every team member needs to ask is, what is slowing my business down? What are we doing repetitively that's taking too much time? Where's the friction in the business, right? And if we start with that, that sets the stage for then saying, how can AI now improve this? Where can I integrate AI into this workflow, this process? So for example, in our business, we spend a few hours every week reviewing performance, right? And I think every business has KPIs that they review, and we were spending hours collecting the data, analyzing in spreadsheets, et cetera, et cetera. And what we do now is we're just finishing up an internal initiative to have AI do all that work, including summarizing and giving us the top 3 we need to focus on. So inherently what it's doing is it's helping me move faster from data to decision, rather than spending time figuring out what the insight is. AI is giving me the insight, and then I can act on it. So for every business, it doesn't have to be that complicated, right? So we can think about as, are we spending too much time writing customer proposals? Are we answering the same questions for our customers, all the time? And those are the opportunities. I think where businesses get hung up is, they think that, oh, we need this tool, we need this fancy technology, or we need all this, IT investment. But just to get started, we don't need that. And the last thing I would say is obviously safety and responsibility, because we know that AI can, and if left to its own, can do not so good things. So having a way to safely and responsibly incorporate AI, is the second best thing. And back to talking about the AI intensive program, what part of what we're going to teach is how to incorporate AI into your business in a safe and responsible way.
So with that, within this conversation of artificial intelligence, we're seeing points that are incredibly exciting. We're seeing points that are a little worrisome. Kathy, can you start off first? What AI practices are you seeing in organizations that excite you, and what are you seeing that might be considered worrisome?
Wow, those are two really, really loaded questions. So I'll try to cover them. First, what excites me is organizations are finally taking AI seriously and recognizing that it's a true competitive advantage. Nikhil's mentioned some very specific examples, and that truly is what can set businesses, apart from their competitors. And AI is turning from talk to action. And that action is leading to real results. And again, Nikhil mentioned some beautiful examples of that happening. I think that in the last couple of weeks since Nikhil and I know Business Council has been talking about the Google program, the excitement and the amount of people that we have that want to get on board are really encouraging. I think that before people would stick their toe in the water and then kind of come back out. And now we're seeing people kind of do the deeper dive, right? They really want to get involved, and they know that it's, as we said, it's here to stay. I think what's also exciting is the vast pace of AI. We're going from intelligent agents and automation that are accelerating things rapidly, yet it's not great. But every day AI gets better and better. Each of the large language models are trying to one-up each other, and they're just making it easier for businesses to really step into AI. I think if I could answer what worries me, I think that companies aren't measuring AI, and the companies that don't measure, they can't grow it, right? Companies start thinking that it's like training where it takes time out of your day, and instead AI just puts time back into your day. I have a company that continue to pay for AI training, and yet their employees are often too busy to get on the call. I'm like, if we were on the call and whatever you were doing, I guarantee you, if it took you an hour, it would have taken us 10 minutes to do it with AI. So I think a lot of it's about a behavioral change and adopting this AI mindset. It's not so much about the technology and the tools. We can figure that out. It's a skill. I think it's about this mindset of curiosity and can it be different, right? Do we always have to do things the same way? And then repeating that, rinsing and repeating that. A lot of people want to go back to their way that they were doing it before. So what worries me is that people will start using it and then stop. So I think it's really this sense of if you can measure it, if you can see the ROI in it, then companies will go with it. And I think that worries me, but it also excites me that when they start doing that, they see the benefit.
Nikhil, what are your thoughts?
So in terms of what excites me, so when we do client workshops on AI, I get really excited when the leader is in the room, right? Because I think a lot of this has to be driven from top down. So when I come out of a workshop where we have the decision makers, we have the staff and the team members, and we're all whiteboarding and saying, okay, where can we actually incorporate AI? Where can we bring value? And I'm seeing a lot of that happening in the second half of this year, and I'm hoping that momentum keeps growing next year. But when leadership and the team have shifted their mindset from, should we do this? Why should we do this? To how do we do this? That's exciting when everyone is on board. So what worries me, I often think about this concept of shadow AI. So I hear feedback from people that, I don't admit I'm using AI at work because I feel like I'm being judged, right? And a part of it is, I think it's a culture where maybe using AI is not looked upon as well. And I think that's a big mistake. I think it's on us as business leaders to, set the tone. The more we, discourage it or ban it, people are going to use it anyways. But by discouraging it, we're actually introducing more risk because untrained employees are going to use it. They're going to upload sensitive data. They're not going to know how to use it. And we're going to end up with the same risk that we are trying to avoid in the first place.
So these really are all the realities of artificial intelligence and really what leaders, need to know about it. We're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna hear more expert tips, and we'll continue to share a little bit more on the details of the BCW's AI intensive program with support from Google.org. You're listening to Leadership Unleashed on the BCW Podcast Network.
This is the coming home you dream about.
But getting here was unimaginable.
At 25 weeks, I was hemorrhaging badly, losing amniotic fluid. Fortunately, I was taken to Westchester Medical Center, where they have the most advanced care in the Hudson Valley for high-risk pregnancies and premature babies. And because we were there, now we're here.
WMC Health, advancing care here.
You are listening to Leadership Unleashed on the BCW Podcast Network. We are continuing our conversation with Kathy D'Agostino, founder at Win Business.AI, and Nikhil Jagga, president of CMIT Solutions, on how leaders can approach AI thoughtfully, responsibly, and strategically. Kathy, I'm going to start with you. If employees are already using AI, why is it critical for leaders to establish clear AI policies now?
Yeah, it's really critical. When I talk to most business owners, and it's always the first thing I start with in any training or when we're starting to work together, and I'm like, what's your AI policy? They're like, what did you just say? And they literally don't know what it is. I was doing a workshop over in one of the chambers, and one of the gentlemen had this whole team of 10 people using AI and had never even heard of an AI policy. He wrote it with AI while we were during the training. So he had it done by the time it was over. I always suggest, a legal review on that one, but people really haven't heard of it sometimes, and it's shocking, but it's true. And so why do we need a policy? Just to be kind of like really pointed on that one. The irony is, as Nikhil mentioned, people are using it in the shadow and they're afraid that they'll get in trouble. And so being able to have a clear policy, being able to tell them the do's, the don'ts, to be able to recognize what they can and cannot put in and what tools are acceptable and which aren't. I think also really important, and people overlook this, is having an AI champion, having the go-to person when there is a question about what is this policy. The thing that I will say is a 40-page policy is way too long. It will create chaos. A one-page policy is a little too short because, well, people will read it and that would be great. It won't really be comprehensive. So you really have to figure out what's a good fit for your organization, have employees read it, not just have it like a handbook to refer to, that you update it constantly when you bring new tools in. So I think it's really having front center, keeping it top of mind. And just a real quick story. I had a woman that owned a textile company buy a $200 a month large language model process. She thought she was covering the whole company with, privacy and security. She bought a bunch of research tools that she had no clue. Everybody else was using AI on the open AI. She had opened herself for an IP, which is intellectual property infringement. She was doing designs with textiles and selling them to TJ Maxx and national retailers. So she had no clue what she was buying. So I think it's having a policy, but also knowing what your tools are
really
and really
doing your
keeping
homework.
a list of them.
Absolutely. Now, you both have often said AI failures are usually people problems, not technology problems. What do you mean by that, Nikhil?
Yeah, I think when I think about people, I think it's also more around like training and education. So I see like two patterns consistently, right? One is AI works really well when you give it context and instructions, and people are vague when they use AI. They give it vague instructions. So when if you're writing a customer proposal and you're asking AI for help, and you say, "Help me with the customer proposal," that's too vague. And at best, when you give vague instructions, you get B- answers, and then people blame the AI. So I think being very specific, giving the right context gets better results. And then the second pattern is really just businesses end up buying shiny objects and tools without giving any training or guidance to employees. And then 3 months later, they don't get value, and they think, oh, AI is not perfect, it doesn't do a good job. So I think a lot of it is just making sure, it's not just the tools and the technology, it's really the guidance and the training and the adoption that goes behind it. So the businesses that win with AI are not with the best tools, but the ones that are more thoughtful and intentional.
Thank you for that, Kathy.
Yeah, I'm going to echo some of what Nikhil said. Also add that, it's not because the technology failed. I mean, technology can fail, but that's not really when when companies really start bringing AI into their company, what we find is that they think that they're, just giving people a bunch of tools and they're like, here, go do it, right? And we find is that they skip the training, they skip the transparency, and they lack trust. And so there's a lot of the elephant in the room, like, why are we doing this? So trying to share, why you're doing what you're doing is really huge. When people understand that, you get them on board. And when they don't, they will be hesitant to jump on board, right? Because why are you doing this? And then I think it's always about the human. AI is more about the human than the tools, right? And so addressing people's fears and helping them to understand there's a learning curve. They may fail a little bit, and making room for that, and then giving clear guidance. So when leaders forget that, the technology doesn't really matter because they're not going to use it. And on the other hand, when you bring people along on board, that's when we're really seeing success in companies. And I've seen it multiple times, both ways. And I will tell you, it works better when everybody's on board.
So speaking of success in companies, for those that have not heard, the Business Council is launching an AI-intensive program in 2026 with support from Google.org. And Kathy and Nikhil, you are going to be facilitating the program. Can you tell a little bit to the audience about this AI-intensive? What do you hope to achieve? How is it different from other AI training programs? And of course, a special thank you to the support of Google.org for this.
Yeah, so we're super excited. I think, this is a natural next step in the AI journey that BCW started. So I think if you look at the landscape of training programs, what I find challenging is that either they're too technical. So people are teaching machine learning, which, small businesses are, they're not catered to businesses, mid-sized and small businesses, or they're very gimmicky, like you go on YouTube and, you can use AI for 10 minutes and make $1 million. So neither of those two types are helpful. So what we're trying to do is really teach the community how to solve real business problems with AI. And what we're hoping to achieve is, bring what you're struggling with in your business, and we can have a hands-on sessions to solve those in real time, right? So you're learning and you're taking something away that you can use. So that's really the emphasis. And the second thing we're excited about is that people are going to leave with the implementation roadmap and a journey, so they can see what comes next with them. But more importantly, they're going to have a process and framework to think about, how to use AI in their business. The vision is to get Westchester businesses off the sidelines and start engaging with AI.
Incredible. Kathy?
I think I'll definitely echo what Nikhil has said, and we've really put a lot of thought into solving the problems that businesses really want to, need to solve, and that's really key. I think just to wrap it up, I would say that this combination is rare of being able to have great expert training, like the one-on-one where they really have it's not just on the internet, that they're really people that we're talking to and they know who we are. And we've built trust, and I think that's really valuable. The funding to implement this, what they learn, so once they learn it, that they can bring it back into their organization, and Google has provided support for that. And then I think then how do they do the next steps, right? A lot of programs are like, okay, 5 sessions and you're done. And we're like, where do you want to go next? Where's this journey taking you? And how can we help you get there? Most programs give you that knowledge and then wish you luck. We're really invested to what happens during the program and what happens after. And we're in a community where we'll see these business owners forever, and we can answer questions and really support them however they need. And I think that's what's really valuable. And I thank Business Council and Google and the small businesses that are really willing to take this little leap I think it's really valuable, and we're excited.
We're very excited as well for this in 2026. Kathy and Nikhil, thank you so much for joining us today on Leadership Unleashed. Your expertise and insights on AI and leadership will really help leaders at every level navigate this rapidly evolving landscape. Thank you again to Westchester Medical Center for their support of Leadership Unleashed, our listeners, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the BCW Podcast Network. Be sure to check out the BCW Podcast Network's expansive lineup of shows: Leadership Unleashed, What's Trending, Advocacy and Politics Unplugged, The Member Spotlight, and Nonprofit Voices of Impact. The Business Council of Westchester is the county's largest business membership organization focusing on economic development and advocacy. With over 1,100 members, it is our mission to work for the profitability of our members and the prosperity of the Westchester community. To learn more about the Business Council of Westchester, please go to thebcw.org.